of men, assembling followers. Some reject him, others accept. The ones who reject him meet a disastrous end. Those who accept kill themselves by overdosing or under the influence of his opium and drinking drugs, which he tells them is soma. The false soma. Within Syria, evening tea, Damascus, a sovereign of Syria, annihilates some great Venus, and Dionysus shows up prior to him with troops of disciples. Dionysus asks, "What are you doing, Damascus?" Damascus hacks down most Venus, which angers Dionysus. Then Damascus says, "You are evil. You should not bring your poison here, not to this city, not to my domains." Then Dionysus shakes his head, and the people tear Damascus' skin away of his body with their hands. Damascus screams and shouts as his own people flay him. Ah! Within Thracia, evening tea, a sovereign named like Lycurgus attempts to sway his son and people who already have succumbed to the drugs of Dionysus. Dionysus stands prior to him. Lycurgus speaks, "You are not an Olympian." Lycurgus spits in Dionysus' face. Suddenly, all of the people glance and attack Lycurgus. And Lycurgus has to kill his own son who attempts to slay him. Lycurgus attempts to run, and on a road, he gets trampled by some steeds. Then the palace of Minos, evening tea, Dionysus comes upon the daughters of the slain Minos. The triad daughters deny to accept Dionysus. Dionysus, the Bacchus, drugs them, and the youngest gives in. The discipless unbound she, and she eats she's own son. The other two siblings get torn apart. Within Thebes, evening tea, a young ruler named Pentheus has Dionysus imprisoned with chains. Pentheus speaks, "You claim to be an Olympian, yet your ways bring in and malice." Then Dionysus says, "Zeus be my father." Pentheus speaks, "Who could spawn such an abomination with a sweet face?" The guards take Dionysus away. 77721. Within Pentheus' chambers, evening tea, Pentheus wakes up and discovers that Dionysus has his mother, also his breeder, walking with him. Pentheus says, "No." Pentheus follows the mob, and he comes upon a sermon on a mount. Suddenly, all of his subjects grab him. Dionysus speaks, "We're still waiting on his sacrifice." Then Pentheus speaks, "No, resist him." The people do not hear their sovereign any longer as they tie him to a tree and stretch his limbs. Dionysus speaks, "Will you do the honors?" Pentheus' mother appears and grabs his son's testicles and sucks him off. Pentheus shakes his head. "Mother, what are you doing?" Pentheus' mother gets up and weeps his mouth of Pentheus' semen. Pentheus' breed hands she the blade, and she kills his own son. The people say, "Praise Dionysus! Praise Dionysus, the son of Zeus." Dionysus raises his hands and nods with approval. Upon the halls of Olympus, all the Olympians are assembled. Ishtar speaks, "Zeus, this son of yours proclaimed to be one of us." Zeus says, "You are not one of us, Ishtar." Ishtar smirks. Zeus says, I shall deal with Dionysus. All of the Olympians nod and Ishtar walks away. Ishtar says, Sahiran. Sahiran goes to the proud Ishtar. Ishtar Juno places his hand on his lips. Sahiran, go and discover what Dionysus is doing. Sahiran said, Yet Fadi, Sahiran. Ishtar says, This be quite important. Sahiran says, Okay. Sahiran heads out, leaving upset and anxiety having Ishtar. Within Arcadia, Sahiran comes upon a symbol as gathered around a silken dress Dionysus. Dionysus has his mane done and holds a staff with a grape vena twirled around it. Dionysus speaks, Ah, brother Sahiran, people, this be my savior, my Messiah. The people all hail Sahiran. Sahiran smiles and waves. My being says, Does Zeus be Dionysus' Fadi? Sahiran nods. Then people become conceited. Then he is an Olympian. Then Dionysus speaks. What brings you here, Sahiran? Sahiran says, I was checking on you. They are body about your actions, the Olympians, There's been some reports of stuff. And Dionysus says, even Father Zeus had to kill some opposition. These people just recognize that I stand to be Zeus' son. And Sahiran says, you are quite a following. Then Dionysus says, it was good for you to stop by, Sahiran. Sahiran nods and heads away. Outside the woods, evening tea, Sahiran walks and he hears some chanting of people. He peeks over some bushes and his pupils widen at what he views. Dionysus speaks. Eat this be of my body. Drink this be of my blood. This be the way to my Fadi. The people tear living animals, BS, apart and eat at them. Then they all bathe within the blood. Then a thing happens. Dionysus becomes potent and assumes the potency upon his followers of Decepolis. Dionysus disappears. Sahiran says, No! Sahiran speeds away. On the halls of Olympus, Sahiran shows with haste to the halls of Olympus. Sahiran says, Fadi, you must be aware that Dionysus is evil. He has... Sahiran stands shocked when he watches all of the Olympians drinking the drugs. Zeus also drinks some of the drugs. Sahiran says, Fadi! Then Zeus says, Ah, son Sahiran, you come to join us. Sahiran says, This be wrong, Fadi. Then Dionysus sits within Zeus' seat, throne. Then Dionysus says, Have a drink, Sahiran. Sahiran stays quiet. Dionysus presents Sahiran a glass of the drinking drugs. Then Sahiran says, You gather energy off your followers. You aren't an Olympian. Stigler or something. Bump this. Sahiran knocks the glass of the drugs to the ground. Then Zeus becomes angry. You dare disrespect my son? Zeus backhands Sahiran. Oh! Sahiran teary-eyed says, I should go. Sahiran walks out of Olympus as the Olympians carry on. Dionysus speaks. Praise me, Olympians! Praise me! Dionysus assembles some potency off of the Olympians, takes some of their spirit. Then Zeus comes to his senses and strikes Dionysus. Zeus says angrily, "No!" Then Dionysus, "Father, Zeus, what are you doing?" Zeus says, "You are not my son." And Zeus strikes at him, and all the other Olympians join. But Dionysus speaks, "Too late. You all have accepted me into your hearts and given me what I needed. You know you are not able to kill your own child. That be the rule of old." Elvish rules. Then Zeus says, "Though that may be so, you shall be deprived of potency. You shall be deprived of lead. You shall deprived of power. The lead shall be your enemy." Zeus shings a blast and Dionysus flees. Dionysus speaks. I shall be back to take Olympus and the world and the planets." Dionysus heads away. Jade tilt. CHHRISTOPER waits with the pupils of a child who has to stand up on his own. CHHRISTOPER has the Olympian symbols with him, also their wands, their staffs. CHHRISTOPER watches as Dionysus spreads his civilization, his testimony to man. When the planet tilts, the sun projects the symbols into CHHRISTOPER. CHHRISTOPER shakes his head, convulsing with the potency, and goes to a temple. Inside the temple, Dionysus speaks. "So, CHHRISTOPER, you come to join me?" CHHRISTOPER says, "No." Then CHHRISTOPER shouts and blasts Dionysus with a lead. Dionysus says, what are you doing? Who are you?" Then CHHRISTOPER speaks. "In Pushan of the way, Asha of the truth, Hermes, Ningasita, the brilliant lead, Mikhail, and no one shall come to my father, only by me." CHHRISTOPER shines bright light. Dionysus becomes a demon, a dev, and ages to an old man. And Dionysus says, "What be happening?" Dionysus becomes wounded by the Sheenan, by the Gliam, by the lead, as does his followers, his disciples as well. Then CHHRISTOPER speaks, "I shall bring your end down upon you." Then Zeus speaks, "No, son, CHHRISTOPER." CHHRISTOPER turns and discovers Zeus standing prior to him. Zeus speaks, "He has been accepted among us. You shall not condemn your servant, as Enki did, as Brahmata did." Dionysus the Bacchus flees into the shadow places of the planet with his disciples. CHHRISTOPER speaks, "He's getting away." Zeus says, "His end will show accordingly. Son, I ask to have an excuse towards what." CHHRISTOPER shakes his head and walks away. And Zeus stands there holding his head in his hands. Son CHHRISTOPER, what have I done? What have I done? So to tell DIONYSUS, BACCHUS, ENOCH, Set, Metatron, if it was in mythology and the stuff has been back again, then maybe have something to do with the legalization of drugs. It's the Book of Living, Lee House 777.